Jai Hind everyone, as part of our transition series wherein we invite professionals for helping the officers in their transition journey. We have with us today Commander Ram Gurung. Commander Gurung is an ex-submariner and ex-NDA. Sir also did his MBA from the Faculty of Management Studies, Delhi University, qualified as Six Sigma from the Institute of Statistical Studies. And then he has served with one of the top consulting companies, that is Grant Thornton. And now he has taken upon himself to contribute professionally as a profession in helping officers transition from uniform to corporate. He has now taken the mantle to guide 10,000 officers as a commitment to himself. And Sir has been helping us develop some of these guidances for the transition effort. So thank you so much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you, Vipul. Thank you for inviting me for this particular talk. And I really love being here. And I also appreciate and admire the kind of work that you and your team is doing to help the transitioning veteran make their journey a little easier and smoother.
यस सर, तो इसी में राम सर के साथ हमने पहले भी काफी काम किया है. आज हमारा कॉन्वर्सेशन इज सेंटर्ड अराउंड द इंटरव्यू प्रोसेस. Interview, how to do well in a job interview. And I'll start with the first question. Sir, what is the significance of interview process for securing a job, especially for the transitioning veterans? And how would you say they should approach this, sir?
I think let's start from the basic, that what does it mean for a resume to get selected? So जब अगर कोई एम्प्लॉयर हमारा रिज्यूमे सेलेक्ट करता है, that means technically speaking we are qualified. That means whatever they are looking with respect to experience, skill, competencies, right, number of years of service, courses, program, वो सब रिज्यूमे में है, तभी रिज्यूमे सेलेक्ट किया है गया है for the next level, that is interview. So in the interview, it is basically a platform where you justify that whoever and whatever has been written in the resume is the same person that you see across the board, right? And when you ask for, what kind of approach should be used, so approach should be very simple. Be honest, authentic, showcase your relevant experience which you have done, and जिस लेवल पे फौजी लोग जाते हैं, सीनियर और मिड सीनियर, देयर एक्चुअली शुड नॉट बी टेकन एज अ क्वेश्चन आंसर कि वो मुझे कुछ पूछेंगे फिर मैं उसका आंसर दूंगा, फिर क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे फिर मैं आंसर दूंगा, राइट? दैट कुड बी एट द एंट्री लेवल बट नॉट एट द लेवल वेयर वी आर गोइंग. दैट मींस इट नीड्स टू बी मोर discussion oriented. What is it that how much you know about that particular company and where do you fit in and how you're going to solve their challenges. तो जितना हम उसके बारे में बात करें, that will be better, right? और ऐसा नहीं है कि लेट्स से आप कुछ और प्रोजेक्ट करना चाह रहे हो और वो एक्चुअली रिज्यूमे में है नहीं, एंड वंस यू गेट सिलेक्टेड देन इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू जस्टिफाई दैट. सो एम ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि मैं किसी तरह मुझे ये जॉब मिल जाए, बट एम ये होना चाहिए कि अगर ये जॉब मेरे लिए सुटेबल है कि नहीं, मैं वो जज करूं इस इंटरव्यू में. तो जैसे एम्प्लॉयर आपको जज कर रहा है सुटेबिलिटी विद रिस्पेक्ट टू स्किल एंड कॉम्पिटेंसी, तो आप भी एम्प्लॉयर को और उसकी कंपनी को जज कर रहे हो वेदर मैं यहाँ पर फिट हो पाऊंगा नहीं हो पाऊंगा, वेदर जो जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिखा है जिसके आधार पे मैं आया हूँ इज द रोल सेम. बिकॉज काफी बार ऐसा होता है कि थोड़ा जेनरिक हो जाता है एंड मे बी द जॉब इंटेल्स डिफरेंट थिंग, मे बी जॉब इंटेल्स लॉट ऑफ ट्रैवलिंग व्हिच इज नॉट हाइलाइटेड देयर एंड यू थिंक अरे ये तो आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू जॉइन. सो दैट बेसिकली गिव्स यू अपॉर्चुनिटी टू सी योर फिटमेंट इन दैट पर्टिकुलर रोल. तो इट्स बोथ वेज है बेसिकली, राइट? So as I say, somebody has said कि resume can get your foot on the door. Somebody can help you, reference, recommendation, or somewhere you could reach there. But whether you walk through that door or not actually depends on your interview. So it's a make or break. Very, very important, significance of interview.
सर वैसे तो ये बहुत वाइड टॉपिक है, बहुत बड़ा टॉपिक है, बट एक चीज जो एटलीस्ट मैंने whenever I faced a couple of interviews वहां मैंने देखा है, one question which kind of foxed me out of my wits always is, tell me about yourself. Now, how can actually the transitioning veterans use this question? Because ये एक तरीके से या दूसरे तरीके से पूछा ही जाता है, शक्लें बदल जाती हैं उसकी पूछने की, but so that they make a favorable impression.
Okay. See, I'll give you, recent example. So last month, one of the veteran, he approached me and he said that, sir, I've been applying for facility manager job in a lot of companies, but somehow मुझे मिल नहीं रहा है, and I feel that I'm doing good. So I asked him, okay, what was the first question that I asked to you? So he said this exact same thing. He tell me about yourself. So I said, okay, tell me about yourself. Imagine that I'm the interviewer and asking you this question. So he said something about, good about 2 to 2.5 minutes. Then I asked him, tell me how many times have you used anything that is related with facility management? You talked about operations, you talked about supply chain, you talked about your instructor somewhere, right? But where is the keyword that is required to be done by a facility manager? Preventive maintenance हो सकता है इसके अंदर, right? Predictive maintenance हो सकता है, inventory control हो सकती है, वो सब कहाँ पर है इसमें? Then he said, "Haan, sir, maybe this is the reason, right?" So you very aptly brought out, this is the first question and everybody knows it, right? आप किसी को भी पूछेंगे ये question सबसे पहला होगा. And आपका resume interviewer के पास already है. It's not that they don't know your name, they don't know your experience, right? They don't know where you have done your MBA from. उनको सब पता, but still they are asking this question. And it is important, right? Because it sets the stage. एक कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल पता चलता है जिस बंदे की, उसकी तैयारी पता चलती है कि हाउ मच हैज ही प्रिपेयर्ड. ऐसा नहीं कि फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में धराशायी हो गया, राइट? सो गेटिंग प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड नाउ यू आस्क मी कि इसको टैकल कैसे किया जाए, तो बहुत ही सिंपल तरीका है, राइट? इसको हम लेट्स से वी कैन क्लासिफाई दिस इनटू 3 पार्ट्स. सो फर्स्ट पार्ट में you talk about yourself. That means who you are, how many numbers years of service of experience you have, right? आपके key expertise क्या हैं, कहाँ से आपने MBA किया है. This can be a first introduction kind of thing. Second thing is bring out the relevant experience and achievements in the field that you are applying. जैसे इस particular example में बताया, अगर facility management कर रहे हैं तो आप वो एग्जाम्पल्स साइट कीजिए, वो बताइए, चाहे आपने शिप में किया हो, चाहे सबमरीन में किया हो, चाहे बीएस में किया हो, चाहे आर्मी में, wherever you have done it, right? All those key skills and responsibilities which are required as a facility manager. तो आप वैसे अचीवमेंट्स को ब्रिंग आउट कीजिए, सो दैट दे सी अलाइनमेंट, दे सी द कनेक्शन कि हाँ ये बंदे ने पहले किया है तो यहाँ भी कर पाएगा, राइट? एंड थर्ड इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. What is your reason to apply for this particular job in this particular company? I mean, ऐसा तो है नहीं कि फैसिलिटी मैनेजर की जॉब सिर्फ इस पर्टिकुलर कंपनी में ओपन होगी, राइट? एट दैट पर्टिकुलर मोमेंट देयर मे बी 10 different other companies with the same job listing. So what actually brought you here? That is very very important. So what is your passion of applying for this particular company in this role and not anybody else? So that basically shows how much you know about the company. आप उनसे कैसे अपने आप को अलाइन कर पाते हैं. So the third part is also very very important. And in fact I'll just add on to this. Somebody was asking me, sir, क्या मैं हर जॉब इंटरव्यू के लिए टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ एक बार रट के चला जाऊं, हो जाएगा काम? मैंने बोला नहीं होगा. You know why? Because again, as we said, डिफरेंट जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन डिफरेंट. मतलब अगर आप आईटी के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हो और आप ऑपरेशंस भी कर रहे हो और सप्लाई चेन भी कर रहे हो, ऑब्वियसली तीनों में एक्सपीरियंस आपको दूसरा दिखाना पड़ेगा, राइट? एंड तीनों कंपनी अलग हैं. तो हाउ आर यू मैचिंग मे बी योर वैल्यू सिस्टम और योर बिलीव्स टू दोज कंपनीज, अगेन विल बी डिफरेंट. तो ऐसा नहीं कि एक बार मैंने रट लिया या एक बार मैंने बाय हार्ट कर लिया तो मैं उसी को हर जगह अप्लाई करूंगा. सो एवरी न्यू जॉब, एवरी न्यू टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ. दैट शुड बी द मंत्र.
सर इसी को अगर मैं और थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ाऊं, नॉट एग्जैक्टली टेल मी आउट योरसेल्फ, बट लेट्स से इंटरव्यू की तैयारी में, तो हाउ कैन माय responses as a candidate be structured so that I'm able to highlight my key skills and experiences, and I mean I ensure that there is a favorable and lasting impression so that वो 5-7 दिन और बाकी candidates से भी मिल रहे हैं तो भी I somewhere linger in their mind कि यार this was a good candidate and मेरा recall रहे सर.
Yes, it's very very important question. You see, इंटरव्यू मैक्सिमम कितने ड्यूरेशन का चलेगा? कोई भी राउंड मैक्सिमम 30 मिनट 40 मिनट. सो इनफैक्ट यू गॉट वेरी वेरी लिमिटेड टाइम टू मेक दैट इंप्रेशन कि भैया आई एम द राइट कैंडिडेट फॉर यू बिकॉज ऑफ ऑल माई स्किल्स, एक्सपर्टीज, कॉम्पिटेंसीज मैचिंग विद वट एवर चैलेंजेस दैट यू आर फेसिंग एंड वट एवर रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज यू आर सीकिंग फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर रोल. तो आपको उस पर्टिकुलर 30-40 मिनट्स में यही बताना है और ये शोकेस करना है, यू नो, विथ ऑल योर अचीवमेंट्स, विथ योर प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंसेस, कि यू आर द बेस्ट सूटेड पर्सन फॉर दैट. इसलिए अगर हमारे पास कोई स्ट्रक्चर नहीं होगा देन इट बिकम्स वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट. So when I say structure means first is, as we said, focus on the relevant example and experiences. Agar मान लीजिए if you are applying, somebody is applying for project manager in a construction company, so highlight only those construction related as a, अगर आप civil engineer थे, so आपने जो construction related काम किया था, right? Similarly, if somebody is applying for IT manager, so maybe the relevant experience of ERP implementation in a unit or a ship, उसको हाईलाइट किया जाए, रिलेवेंट एक्सपीरियंस. दैट इज नंबर वन. सेकंड इज क्वांटिफिकेशन ऑफ द अचीवमेंट दैट यू हैव अंडरटेकन, या आपके पुराने एक्सपीरियंस में, यू नो. सो हो सकता है द नंबर ऑफ पीपल दैट यू लेड, हो सकता है द साइज ऑफ द प्रोक्योरमेंट यू डन, हो सकता है बिकॉज ऑफ योर पर्टिकुलर रोल, राइट, the operational efficiency increased, or the defects in the machinery decreased. So whatever achievements were achieved, it needs to be quantified, because वो जल्दी लोगों को समझ आता है, rather than giving a very very base, rather basically not giving any figure. And third is using STAR method. I think it's industry wide known method. STAR is basically stands for situation, task, action, and result. So I will also talk about little more about this STAR technique by giving a little example later also. And मेरा क्या कहना है, आप इंटरव्यू दीजिए, right? Prepare कीजिए, be authentic, and keep giving. It may not happen that in first interview only you crack it. कुछ मिस्टेक्स होगा आपका, फर्स्ट इंटरव्यू हो सकता है, सेकंड इंटरव्यू, थर्ड इंटरव्यू. आई मीन आई गेव ऑलमोस्ट 25 प्लस इंटरव्यूज, राइट? इन सम आई गॉट सक्सेस, some I didn't, some I came out in the first round only. But as Henry Ford said, the real mistake is only from those instances where we don't learn anything. So basically keep making mistakes, keep learning, and keep appearing. तो हो जाएगा क्रैक कहीं ना कहीं.
सर आपने बोला काफी की इंटरव्यूज देते रहे, करते रहे, और प्रैक्टिस काइंड ऑफ हेल्प्स इम्प्रूव द स्किल्स. मैं इसमें आपसे एक टेक्निकल क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि आपने काफी इंटरव्यूज दिए भी और आपने बहुत सारे लोगों को इंटरव्यूज की तैयारी भी करवा रहे. आप, इज देयर एनी क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ क्वेश्चंस की इस तरह के, मतलब कैन वी हैव अ ब्रॉड 2 3 4 कैटेगरीज ऑफ क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर usually asked in an interview?
Yeah, that's again a very very good question. So हम इसको इस तरीके से क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं. So first group can be called as a general question. For example, even tell me about yourself is a general question, or why you are making a move from Forge, that is again a general question. Or why do you want to work in this particular field, like you seem to be capable of working in so many fields, but why did you choose this particular field? Generic questions. So this could be in the general category. Now the second class or second category of questions is behavioral pattern question or situation related question. Now this is very very important from the employer perspective, because your past behavior predicts the future behavior. तो आपने जैसे अगर पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन में पास्ट में जिस तरीके से रिएक्ट किया है, रेस्पॉन्स किया है, फ्यूचर में भी आप जनरली वैसे ही करोगे, बिकॉज एटीट्यूड डजंट चेंज सो फास्ट. So based on that only they can actually see your fitment for that particular role or for that particular company. For example, let's say behavioral type of question. Okay, how did you meet a very strict project deadline, right? And how did you handle the pressure? Now, जब अगर इंटरव्यूअर ये पूछ रहा है, so basically they are trying to ascertain what are our time management skills and stress handling techniques. क्योंकि प्रोजेक्ट तो हर जगह होंगे, टाइमलाइंस हर जगह चेज करना पड़ेगा, राइट? सो स्ट्रेस हर जगह होंगे. सो हाउएवर एंड व्हाटएवर ही टूल्स ही हैज यूज्ड इन द पास्ट, जैसे पहले उसने किया है, फ्यूचर में भी कभी ऐसा सिचुएशन आएगा तो वैसे ही करेगा. और सेकंड क्वेश्चन यू कैन टेक कि how did you actually handle difficult team member while working in your last organization, or in any of the past organizations. So ये क्वेश्चन क्यों पूछा जा रहा है? ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जा रहा है to basically ascertain and evaluate the interpersonal skills या conflict management या conflict resolution बंदा कैसे करता है. Okay, so this set of questions are called behavioral set of questions. And I was speaking to Amazon, veterans. So there they entirely focus on this. Entirely focus. They got 16 leadership principles, and their all questions are, involved or somehow related with these principles, and they expect you to use this star technique. And third is basically functional related or role based questions or technical questions. For example, if somebody is applying for cyber security, so they might ask you, okay, what is NIST cyber security framework? तो अगर आपने पढ़ाई की है, आपको पता है, then you'll be able to answer, otherwise नहीं. Yeah, for example, somebody might ask you, okay, it seems that you have done PMP. Okay, good. So tell me, as per PMP, what are 5 process group? Right? Or how is transportation model used in supply chain? So these are very, very specific technical questions. अगर आपने किया है तो आप जवाब दे पाओगे, अगर आपने नहीं किया है तो आप जवाब नहीं दे पाओगे. Right? So these are basically, 3 broad categories of questions.
The broad category आपने पीछे भी एक बार बोला, मैं उस वर्ड को वापस से पिक करना चाहूंगा. ये स्टार टेक्निक क्या है सर? थोड़ा सा इसको एलाबरेट कर दीजिए. व्हाट इज द स्टार टेक्निक ऑफ आंसरिंग क्वेश्चंस?
Okay, so basically it is industry, pan industry understood concept when we talk about star. So as we said, star means इसमें 4 different sections हैं. So it basically is the storytelling. Okay, so first is situation. That means you talk about the situation or give the context. आपने basically वो काम कैसे माहौल में किया है, doing something, let's say putting up a communication network in a base at Ranchi would definitely be different than doing similar kind of thing in minus 20 degree centigrade at the forward post. So that basically is the context. Second is the task. What was the task that was expected or to be done for that particular project or for that particular operations or for that particular thing that was at hand? That is task. Third is usko karne ke liye what were the list of activities or actions that was undertaken to get this success. And fourth is result. Now very, very important. Like everybody is interested in result. कि आपको क्या result मिला? ये सब करने के बावजूद के बाद what was the result that you got? Like were you able to reduce the timeline? Was the project success? Right? Were the things whatever was supposed to be reach from a place A to place B, did it reach on time? तो ये क्या आपकी operational efficiency बढ़ी है करने से? Right? So that is basically the result that everybody is interested in. So let me actually give you example. So for example, let's say ना किसी ने resume में लिखा था, okay, that I handled a project of laying fiber optic cable in our unit. So the question could be based on the same thing. Okay, tell us about what did you do? So the situation then he'll ask, the situation can actually start like, okay, I was leading a project in my unit where we have to lay a fiber optic cable for about 2 kilometer length. It was a training establishment and a square of about 500-meter area across 5 buildings. So this is basically situation. And the task is we need to complete this in 3 months time because the next training session was going to start. तो उसके start से training session से पहले ये काम खत्म होना था, right? And third is the activities or actions that you did. तो उसमें personal contribution दिखाना पड़ेगा. That means you'll say, okay, I maybe along with my team member revisited the detailed project, diagram or layout, and then we realized that actually we could undertake some minor modification, जिसकी वजह से हमारा 300 मीटर का जो फाइबर ऑप्टिक लेइंग है वो कम हो सकता है. And we did that. And because स्कोप कम हो गया, राइट, रॉ मटेरियल कम लगी, मेहनत कम लगा, काम कम लगा, वर्क पैकेज कम हो गया, so we could actually finish it little ahead of time and also saving the budget while maintaining the same operational efficiency and still connecting those 500 computers, something like that, right? So when we actually, and any question can be modified or told in this particular sequence star. आप कोई भी क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं बिहेवियरल टाइप में, और आप इस पर्टिकुलर आकार में ढाल सकते हैं स्टार फ्रेमवर्क में। जस्ट थोड़ा प्रैक्टिस की जरूरत है, राइट? थोड़ा प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, इट एक्चुअली कम क्वाइट नेचुरली।
राइट सर, अभी एक ना मैं थोड़ा सा ऑफ ट्रैक सवाल पूछता हूँ। सो रिज्यूमे अच्छा था, तैयारी भी है, स्किल्स भी है, सर्टिफिकेशन है, इंटरव्यू की भी तैयारी कर ली, सब कर लिया सर, बट इंटरव्यू इज अ डिसाइसिव मोमेंट, एंड स्पेशली फॉर वेटरन्स व्हेन दे आर ट्रांजिशनिंग, उनको नहीं बाहर का इतना एक्सपोजर होता है। तो मुझे ये याद है व्हेन आई वाज इन दैट स्पेस से 15-17 ईयर्स अगो, इस सब के बावजूद कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा दिल में दुख दुख होती है कि भाई ये क्या हुआ कैसे। सो हाउ डू यू काइंड ऑफ बिल्ड दैट कॉन्फिडेंस इन प्रोजेक्ट a confident body language to the other person that okay, this guy is, he has a presence, and the impression is favorable, and they feel confident about you with
Okay.
your self.
Mm-hmm. I think you rightly said. I also remember, like, initially few interviews, one is quite nervous. Like I was also quite nervous because एक तो है कि we are not used to giving interviews, and second we are in need of job and we think कि अगर इस interview में select नहीं हुए तो क्या होगा? Those kind of things are there, and that actually leads to nervousness. And when somebody is nervous, then he or she actually does not know कि उनके नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन पार्ट में क्या हो रहा है। दे मे नो व्हाट दे आर स्पीकिंग, बट दे डू नॉट नो हाउ देयर नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन cues is actually working. Right? So, according to one American psychologist who was there, who was Mehrabian, so he said more than 93% of the communication actually is translated through the non-verbal cues. So that basically means how do we stand, how do we use our body gestures, how do we use our tone of voice, what speed are we talking, facial expressions, हम स्माइल कर रहे हैं नहीं कर रहे हैं, कितना stern face बनाया है हमने, right? So these are very very small things, but actually that speaks a lot about the person. आप उसका हुलिया देख के समझ सकते हैं कि ये कितना डरा हुआ है या कितना कॉन्फिडेंट है, कितना प्रिपेयर्ड है, right? And second thing is when you actually doing a storytelling, as we said in the star. So जो storytelling में है, you are a character in that. So मुझे लगता है थोड़ी बड़ी एक्टिंग भी आनी चाहिए, right? And when you're talking about different sections, जब आप अलग अलग पहलू बता रहे हैं, तो आपका जो इमोशंस है that should also align with the character and the situation. अगर मान लीजिए आपको इस चैलेंजिंग सिचुएशन की बात कर रहे हैं, तो आपका फेस थोड़ा अलग होगा, right? And when you're talking about that your team or you actually receive some award, तो आप थोड़ा मुस्कुराओगे, थोड़ा खुशी दिखाओगे, right? So that also actually translates and transfers a lot of emotions and energy from the interview to the interviewer. So फौजी लोग, yes, posture वोस्चर में सब ठीक रहते हैं, there's no doubt or no problem in that, right? But emotions, expressions may, I think we need to work a little bit more. And one more thing I want to add is आजकल basically, the maybe first round or second initial round could be all virtual. तो जब हम virtual करते हैं, तो most of the time, we think that we are looking at the eyes of a person, right? But हम अगर लैपटॉप में हो, अगर हम स्क्रीन में देख रहे हैं किसी के फेस में, that means actually we are not looking in the eyes, right? I can demonstrate you right now. If I look at you, right, and talk, you may it may appear to me that I am looking at directly to your eyes, but if you look at me, you will realize that actually I'm looking down. Am I
Yes, sir.
right? But so the best way of doing is this: actually look in the camera. So when I look at the camera, that means actually I'm looking at you. And the easiest way to find this is, you can actually look at only one thing. Either you can look at the camera or you can look at the person. So whenever you're looking at the camera, you are actually not seeing the face of the person on the screen. That means you are right. And if you're looking at somebody and talking, that means actually for the other person you're looking down. So very, very important. Whenever you want to look at the eyes, look at the camera. Eye contact.
राइट सर। अब एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन मुझे ये बताइए कि सब हो गया, मैंने इंटरव्यू दे दिया आगे, एंड यूजुअली व्हेन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आर इंटरव्यूइंग दे आर गोइंग थ्रू प्रोसेस, सो दे हैव मोर कैंडिडेट्स टू स्पीक टू, सब कुछ है। So it's not that I'll get an immediate answer, save some rare exceptions. Are there any follow-up actions you would recommend should be done after the interview? And वो जो एक ensuing waiting period होता है कि क्या होगा कैसे होगा उसका।
एक सर्वे रिपोर्ट बोलती है कि 57% ऑफ द पीपल एक्चुअली डोंट डू एनीथिंग। वो गए, इंटरव्यू दिया, उसके बाद चुपचाप, राइट, कुछ नहीं करते हो। So the first thing that can be done is send a thank you note, right? Thank you note could be sent by the email, right? Preferably within a day. Thank you for your time, and in that you can also bring out that how do you feel and why do you feel that you are the best suitable candidate for that particular open position. Show your passion that yes, your values meet with the values of the company. Your past experiences matches with the job roles. So emphasize and show your, in fact, re-show your interest. Okay, that can be done. And third thing that you can ask is, what is the next process, right? Because that is very, very important. Otherwise, what will happen if you don't ask, you might feel कि शायद ये 2-3 दिन में रिवर्ट करने वाले हैं या 2 हफ्ते में रिवर्ट करने वाले हैं. But if you ask, they might say, okay, your second out of interview is sorted on maybe second week, or don't worry, you will directly hear from us after 3 weeks. So at least you will know what is there, what is the process they are going to follow. बहुत important है. And in fact, somebody also asked me this last time कि अगर मुझे उस जॉब में जाना ही नहीं है तो क्या मुझे थैंक यू नोट भेजना चाहिए. Now I think it's a basic courtesy, right? And thanking note, you're not sending him or her to get a job. You're sending that to show your respect and courtesy for the thing that has already happened. उन्होंने अपना टाइम आपको ऑलरेडी दे चुके हैं, and आप उसके लिए उनको थैंक यू बोल रहे हो, right? And that also basically helps us to build a rapport. अगर आपका, if you had been a good candidate, इंटरव्यू बहुत अच्छा हुआ, right? And even then suppose selection नहीं हुआ, but your name will be there on their mind. So in case a similar kind of a job opportunity opens in their own company, they might actually consider you for that also. तो ये इट शुड नॉट बी टेकन एज अ ट्रांजिशन रिलेशनशिप कि एक बार मैं इंटरव्यू दे दिया नहीं हुआ तो मतलब आई विल नेवर लुक एट दिस कंपनी और समथिंग, ऐसा नहीं चलेगा, राइट? दैट आल्सो गिव्स यू एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बिल्ड अ रिलेशनशिप. सो व्हाट, अगर इस कंपनी में नहीं हुआ तो मे बी फ्यूचर में कभी होगा, फर्स्ट टाइम, सेकंड टाइम, थर्ड टाइम कभी बाद में आ सकते. इफ दैट इज योर ड्रीम कंपनी, दैट मींस यू विल ऑलवेज, दैट कंपनी विल ऑलवेज बी इन योर माइंड, राइट? सो इट कैन बी सीन एज a seed for building up that kind of a relationship. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, sir. I mean, I understand what you are saying, that basic civility will take people a long way. May not be this job, but at least you are making those connects which can help you in a job, in another opportunity, so many things. So it always helps to at least have the basics of human interaction. That you have given me so much of time. I also interacted with you. It was a pleasure connecting. So thanks for that. I'm not as a pressure tactics, but as a general follow up. That thank you for this, and I do agree, sir. It's important that that's how we kind of smoothen the edges of human interaction.
True.
So I, in the same spirit, sir, allow me to thank you for your time and contribution towards helping officers transit, and I also wish and pray that other officers reach out to you directly and get more benefits from it.
Thank you, Vipul. Thank you for your time as well. And once again, thank you for inviting me for this particular talk. Value Network, yes, it's doing amazing work and helping the transitioning veterans make their transition a little smoother, a little easier. And there are a lot of videos which and talks which Vipul and their team actually keep doing it. So I think the transitioning veteran can make use of these and help them and use it to basically help them in the journey.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind.